All right, so now I've completed 20 of the video casts about Lost and Found at Disney World, and I want to know what you think. Let me know what you think. Send me an email, comment on any of the posts, whatever you like. And now it's time to go back and look at some of the things that I may have done right, wrong, or indifferent about the 11 through 20 podcasts, and I'll fill in some blanks on some things that I didn't talk about, or maybe give you some information that you may not have heard before. So we'll do that for now, and I'll be back in just a minute. In episode 11, I covered the Lake Buena Vista Airfield. Now, I didn't tell the story that years ago I had occasion to visit the control tower at Orlando International Airport. They had a Mickey head on their radar indicating Disney's airspace, though at the time Disney didn't control their own airspace. The controllers liked to know where it was and routed planes at higher altitudes and around the resort. It wasn't until after 9/11 that the FAA decided to officially designate it as a restricted airspace, and while there's some debate about it, it is officially regarded that way today. Now, in addition, I didn't get into specifics about one detail, and that's the original location shown by Walt in his promotional video that was the same location that the Orlando airfield that the Bronson family ran. They were actually in the same place. I'll gather up some more information and details around that and share it with you in a future video. The next series up was my presidential series. Now, this was kind of fun. Epcot, the international showplace that was like a permanent World's Fair or a mini United Nations, would naturally be of interest to the president, especially since the countries were all representing themselves in that sense. Nixon was president when the Walt Disney World Resort opened. He was the first to visit and the first to be featured as an animatronic in the Hall of Presidents. The only thing I would fix in the story I told about him was that I had the wrong angle on the picture of Nixon with the Dreamfinder. I actually should have turned a little bit more to the side because you can see the land pavilion behind him. Ford, unfortunately, didn't visit the Disney World Resort, so there's really no story to tell there. Carter visited and learned about Epcot. And again, the only issue I had was the angle I showed for the appearance in front of the Chamber of Commerce, right in front of the castle. He was in the middle of the castle, right by the main doors, and I kind of showed him off-center a little bit. Reagan's visit, I still find a little amusing. It just seemed, well, the word may not be silly, but it certainly was unusual. Having an inaugural at Epcot was more of a promotional gimmick than anything else, but it certainly served that purpose well. I did miss one photo of Reagan greeting people inside the American Adventure as he went through the reception line. Elder Bush's story was interesting because of his idea to promote volunteerism and to hold a ceremony at Disney, so it was kind of fun to tell that tale, even though it was a little bit difficult to kind of weave together the story because he went to Disney, but it was sort of an unexpected result. By the way, Clinton also visited Disney World, but I'm still researching the details on that. I'll get around to it later when I learn a little more. Younger Bush, W. Bush, likewise made a visit that needs to be researched further. And that moves us on to episode 16. The Hilton South Hotel and its unusual connection to Disney World. Of all the podcasts I've done so far, this was, in my humble opinion, the most fun one to create. It's a story I'd never really heard before. Finley Hamilton had a handshake agreement with Roy Disney and ran a hotel where the cast members learned. It feels kind of random, but it has really an interesting connection to Disney. Episode 17 was about the central focal point of the resort, the Contemporary Hotel. I may have spent longer than I needed to on the tour, and perhaps not enough about the number of floors and the special features that exist within the hotel, but overall I wanted to share some design and layout features of it. I have a feeling that on a future video cast, I will be back around to talking about the Contemporary. It being that focal point, a lot of things happened there. Episode 18 delved into Mary Blair's contemporary mural. It's a truly remarkable work of art that is hundreds of feet tall and visible from all four sides. I have a funny side note here. I went to the hotel and looked at all four sides, but I couldn't figure out how the mural went around the walkways that connect the two sides of the hotel where the A is. So there's a walkway that goes through. So in reality, it turns out while there's four murals, the two sides where the walkway is, there's actually two murals. So in total, there are 6 murals instead of 4. And I actually found myself getting confused about this because if you look at one side, it's in the red patterns and goes up, and on the other side, it's in the blues. But it's different hues of reds and blues that it goes through. So it's kind of interesting. I was looking at it and I'm going, but wait, that's not the same one that's on the other side because that's a different shade of red or that's a different shade of blue. And I found myself getting a little bit confused about it. But as soon as I figured it out, I was like, oh, of course, because the walkway goes through. Episode 19, the John Lennon story. I think it's a lesser known story that the Beatles actually broke up at Disney World. I rather like the story because it's probably the first time that pop culture and Disney World intersected, and now they do all the time. Perhaps even through this video series? And one final point about this one, I had said that May Pang was shooting in black and white. And you're probably wondering, if you're a little bit younger, what does that mean? So it used to be that with film cameras, you would load in a roll of film. You would either load in black and white film or color film. You couldn't switch between the two. And you would go through your exposures. You either had 12 shots, 24 shots, or 36 shots to shoot your pictures. And that was it. People who were thinking more artistically would shoot in black and white, and plus black and white was cheaper to develop. So many people shot in black and white. Now, if you were shooting in black and white, that meant that you couldn't shoot color pictures along the way. Hence the reason that I think that the picture of John Lennon standing with the Mickey Mouse shirt next to May Pang is not from that same roll. Besides, she said she took the picture, so it is more likely that one of the other black and white pictures is the one that was on that same roll. Episode 20, The Castle Mosaic. I find the fact that Hans Scharf was hired to do some work by Walt Disney and later by the Disney Company kind of intriguing. After his services in the SS, it seemed a bit odd, but I guess everyone deserves a second chance, and this was his. Hey, and thanks for watching my video cast. I really do appreciate it. And remember to like and subscribe if you really enjoy this, and be sure and give me some feedback. Thank you.